Hi everybody, I'm the Idea Maker, and today is going to be a very, very interesting and special day. So, if you guys have not seen part 1 of Barbenheimer 24, then you guys should definitely check out part 1 first, which is my reaction to Barbie. And this part, which is part 2 of Barbenheimer 24, is my reaction to Oppenheimer. Now, I've said in my Barbie reaction that I have not seen Oppenheimer, but I have seen Barbie once, the week after it came out in the theaters. So Oppenheimer I have not seen before. I do know kind of a little bit of an idea on what it is. It's supposed to be about J. Robert Oppenheimer, who created the atomic bomb, which, of course, it's a very sensitive subject that I don't really want to get too much into until after I see the movie. I know that this is probably going to be emotional. It's going to be very tense. It's going to be an interesting experience to watch. And I say experience and not a movie because, as we've all known, this is going to be a movie that's directed by the one and only Christopher Nolan. Now, if you don't know who Christopher Nolan is, he is the director behind some of the most amazing movies of the 21st century, including Memento, Insomnia, Batman Begins, The Prestige, The Dark Knight, Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, Interstellar, Tenet, Dunkirk, and now Oppenheimer. I was kind of go in the chronological order, but I didn't. But I think I got every single one of his movies. But anyways, if you guys don't know about why this was called Barbenheimer, as I explained in part 1, but I'll explain it in part 2 again. Back in 2020, when COVID was a thing, Christopher Nolan was making Tenet, and at the time, Warner Brothers, which was the studio that he was working with, they wanted to go and have their movies be available to people via streaming from HBO Max. So what they did was that any movies from Warner Brothers, they went and they took those movies and made them available on streaming for 30 days while it was simultaneously in the theaters. And then after the 30 days from being on streaming, then you would have to go to the theaters and then you would have to watch it. But see, the thing is that Christopher Nolan didn't want Tenet to be on streaming. So he then parted ways from Warner Brothers, and when he was making Oppenheimer, he ended up signing with Universal Studios, and they decided to give him the freedom that he wanted to create a movie that he wanted to make. Now, which is turned out to be Oppenheimer. Now, as we know, Oppenheimer is a biopic. So this is not the traditional Christopher Nolan fashion that usually we would be seeing. So from this, we're going to be getting to see a new side of Christopher Nolan in a way. We'll still be seeing the same tropes, the same ideas, and the same director signature and same type of cinematography, but it's going to be in a different type of fashion. As we do know that this is the movie that ended up winning for Best Picture over at the Oscars this year. I think this also won for Best Original Score. Of course, we all know that this was the movie that won Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. their Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor Oscars, which was a first for both of them, if I recall correctly. But I'm excited to see what we're going to get into. I am going to put a little bit of a warning on this one because this is rated R. And what I want to do, because this is an R-rated movie, I am going to show only the parts that I think that are okay to view on YouTube and not wanting to break any community guideline rules whatsoever. I do know that there are some scenes of some sexual content and some nudity in this movie, so I will be editing that out. If there comes to a point where I do have to include some scenes in, they won't be shown, but they only will be heard. So that's going to be another thing that I'm wanting to do. It's an essential part of the story. So I'm definitely going to be doing that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into Oppenheimer, as this movie is 3 hours long. And let's go ahead and begin right now. So as I mentioned before, Oppenheimer is rated R, and any sexual content, any nudity, I will be cutting out entirely, making it so that way it is more of like a PG-13 movie. Any disturbing sequences, I will be taking out or blurring if it's an important, integral part of the story and a part of this experience. So just letting you guys know ahead of time. So if you're worried about any of that being shown in this, it will not be shown at all. So for me, when it comes to me making my movie reactions and my TV show reactions, I take out all the swearing, I blur out any blood, any kind of gore, any type of sexual content, I will be definitely taking out, as shown for X-Men 97, as shown for, I think I even did that for, I want to say for grown-ups, and I might have done it for My Adventures of Superman. But other than that, you guys are in good hands. This is going to be the family-friendly content version of it, as best as I can get it. There he is, Cillian Murphy, the Oscar winner himself. Whoa. Whoa. Is this what it's like? Inside of an atomic bomb? Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to man. For this he was chained to a rock and tortured for eternity. Whoa.
Dr. Oppenheimer.
Number 1, fission.
How long did he testify?
Number 2, fusion. Robert Downey Jr. There we go.
An ordeal. Well, I've only
Alden Ehrenreich? No, really? We got young Han Solo in this too? Nice.
As chairman, I wasn't allowed to be. Are they really going to ask about it? It was years ago. 4 years ago. 5.
He still has that same Tony Stark attitude. I didn't even realize it was in black and white too. Looks so good.
When they bring up Oppenheimer, you answer honestly. No senator can deny you did your duty. It'll be uncomfortable. Who'd want to justify their whole life?
Oppenheimer, most likely.
Why did you leave the United States?
Did he really?
I wanted to study the new physics.
Was there nowhere here? I thought Berkeley had the leading theoretical physics.
Is that Jason Clarke in the background?
Yes, once
And there's Emily Blunt right there.
I went to Cambridge to study under Patrick Blackett.
Were you happier there than in America?
That is Jason Clarke. I just saw him in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
I was homesick, emotionally immature, and troubled by visions of a hidden universe.
Whoa!
I need to go to the lecture, sir. It smells bore.
Wait, what?
All right. Good show. Oh, no, not you, Oppenheimer. You finish coaching those please.
Wow. I mean, it's like, you broke them, you fix it. Potassium cyanide? What's potassium cyanide supposed to do? I do know a little bit of science, but at the same time, for those of you guys who studied science, like in universities and colleges, please let me know, what does potassium cyanide do?
Now we are peering through, seeing a world inside our world, a world of energy.
Is that Kenneth Branagh? Dude, there's so many people and there's so many collaborators that Christopher Nolan's worked with that's in this movie. It's crazy. Like, who else are we going to see? The visualizations on the nuclear fission or whatever it is, that's pretty impressive, however they did it. It couldn't have been visual effects. What happened? Oh, the apple that he injected the potassium cyanide in.
J. Robert Oppenheimer.
Oh, it is Kenneth Branagh. Great director and great actor.
I heard you give the same.
Oh, no. Don't eat the apple. Don't eat the apple.
Get to Germany, study under Max Born, learn the ways of theory.
The ways of theory. Oh, no.
Algebra's like sheet music. The important thing isn't can you read music, it's can you hear it. Can you hear the music, Robert?
Oh, that's an interesting way of putting it. I never even thought about it like that. How did they do it with these fission scenes? Like, this is so incredible. And then he's just studying and studying. Man, the music for this movie so far, we're only probably like about 5-10 minutes in, but this is so good. This is Hans Zimmer level music. I know this is Ludwig Göransson who composed it. Same composer for Dunkirk. No, not Dunkirk. For Tenet, for The Mandalorian. But this is so good. And then him also doing the score for Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. This is incredible. I'm like already immersed in this experience. Like so good. He's like seeing it and visualizing it. It feels like Interstellar at the exact same time. Like what?
I actually met Robert in my capacity as board member of the Institute for Advanced Study at Princeton, because after the war, he was world-renowned, the great metaphysics, and I was determined to get him to run the Institute.
Really? Interesting.
I'm a great admirer of your work.
You're a physicist by training, Mr. Strauss.
I love that interesting little delay on the footsteps that happened right there. Like, there's some really good sound engineering and sound design. It's just incredible what Christopher Nolan does in his movies. This guy is just a very, very, very talented filmmaker. Like, he's incredible.
Einstein published his theory of relativity more than 40 years ago now. I embrace the quantum world it revealed.
God doesn't play dice.
That's a good line. God doesn't play dice. No, he doesn't. Is that supposed to be Einstein? I wonder if Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. thought at that moment that they were going to get that big chance of theirs with this movie, is what I really want to know. I'm seeing, in my opinion, so far that this movie's being played in two different times. Or in this case, there's two different sides.
Hey, Yank, lecturing on the new physics. This I have to hear. I'm an American myself.
How surprising.
Let me know if you need any help with the English.
Guys, stop it. Let him give the lecture. He studied German. He studied German on top of it. Oh, sheesh. Oh, is that the guy from earlier?
We're a couple of New York Jews. How do you know Dutch?
Oh, Dutch. Sorry. That's an interesting way of having a lecture hall like that. Having the chairs to be almost like in a circle like that. I really like that.
I have to get back to America.
Why? There's no one there taking quantum mechanics seriously.
That's exactly why.
He's pining for the canyons of Madden.
Canyons of New Mexico.
Oh. You know, I still can't get over the fact that Cillian Murphy is having this American accent. It's incredible. This guy has such a range of versatile range of how he can act. It's so incredible. So far, there's a lot of things that I'm already catching that there's a lot of Christopher Nolan style in that I'm gonna definitely address at the end. But this is just so good. As a science enthusiast, as an engineer, I'm loving how this is so far. Like, I really am.
I hear you want to start a school of quantum theory.
I am starting it next door.
They put you in there.
He looks familiar too. I recognize him, but like I don't know the guy's name.
What do you know about quantum mechanics?
I have a grasp on the basics.
And you're doing it wrong.
Is light made up of particles or waves?
Quantum mechanics says it's both. How can it be both?
I was actually going.
But it is. It's paradoxical, and yet it works.
I'm really learning actually with this movie. It's incredible how much I'm learning. It's getting bigger.
Dr. Oppenheimer's file contained detail of his activities at Berkeley. Why would they have started a file on Dr. Oppenheimer before?
Well, you have to ask Mr. Hoover.
I'm asking you, Admiral Strauss.
Hoover. Oh, Herbert Hoover? Or maybe it's a different Hoover. Oh, Florence Pugh.
What are you working?
What happens to stars when they die?
Do stars die?
Well, if they do, they cool, then collapse. In fact, the bigger the star, the more violent its demise. Their gravity gets so concentrated it swallows everything.
Like a black hole.
Can that really happen?
The math says it can. If we can get published, then perhaps one day an astronomer finds one. But right now, all I have is theory.
I think that one astronomer or NASA's already found out about that, and it's true. If I'm right.
MJ.
Robert.
Man, she saw him across the room and she was like, that's a good looking guy. I know that's what she was thinking. It's so weird hearing Florence Pugh with the American accent too. Like, wow.
Read this.
Well, in this part, Vishnu reveals his multi-arms.
The words.
And now I am become death.
His famous line. This is some very awkward thing. Like, that's actually a very awkward situation to be in. Like, while that's going on, I mean, okay. I can understand why some people said that these scenes where they showed any type of suggestive or sexual content or nudity so far, I mean, so far it's unnecessary. I don't know. They could have done it a different way. If that really did happen the way that it did, okay. But if it didn't, then that's just kind of adding a little bit of spice to it. No intention on making the meme into a joke here, but still.
So, I'm getting married.
Really? Already? How much time has passed? Oh no. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that was Oppenheimer and the other guy was his brother.
If I could find a way to combine physics and New Mexico, my life would be perfect.
Little remote for that.
Yes.
Is that where he's going to come up with the idea on making the testing site for the atomic bomb?
Tomorrow we'll climb it. What's it called? Los Alamos.
Los Alamos.
They've done it. They've done it. Han and Strassman in Germany. They split the uranium nucleus.
Really? Wait. That's Alex Wolff, I think. Why did I not recognize him? I think that is Alex Wolff, if I'm correct.
See? Can't be done.
Very elegant. Quite clear. There's just one problem.
Where?
What?
Next door. Alvarez did it.
Oh, really?
You, me, and every other physicist around the world have seen the news.
What? What do we all think?
A bomb.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
I told you, Robert, no more flowers.
Oh.
I don't understand what you want from
I
me.
don't want anything from you.
Well, you say that and then you call.
Well, don't answer.
I'll always answer.
Yeah, I mean, like, hey, come on. She was the one that called you. You pick up. Everybody knows in their right mind when somebody picks up the phone, and at that time, you didn't even have the thing about having the caller ID. You got to pick up the phone to find out if it was your relative or somebody else. I mean, come on. This is so stupid.
Oh, Harlan, our paper, it's in print.
You've been upstage.
What? Hitler invades Poland. Ooh.
Good stuff.
Well, I thought this was the Pullman's house.
I live with them. Well, I'm at count.
So then this is where we have Emily Blunt come in. Okay. Great actress. Love her.
Well, somehow I have graduated to housewife. Can you explain quantum mechanics to me?
Does she have like a slight Southern American accent? Because I could see about the American accent, but is she trying to play someone from the South? Because if so, that's a very good accent. Because I'm so used to her British accent.
My second husband was Joe Dallatt. He was from money like me, but he was a union organizer in Youngstown, Ohio. Felt hard.
I see.
Joe got himself killed first time he popped his head out of the trench.
Oh, no. Oh! Oh! So, I'm trying to understand what's going on. So, did Oppenheimer have a relationship with two women at the exact same time, but he got married to one who was his ideal person for him, and the other was just like the side chick? This is crazy. Unionize the radiation lab.
What do you get paid a month?
That's not the point, Lawrence.
What do any of you have in common with farm laborers and dock workers?
Plenty.
Everybody out. No! Not you.
I mean, he did tell you to not bring these type of things to the lab and to the classrooms.
We've all heard about Einstein and Ziller's letter to Roosevelt warning him the Germans could make a bomb, and I know what it means for the Nazis to have a bomb. But I don't. It's not your people they're hurting at the camps. It's mine.
Yikes.
The next time you're coming home from a meeting, why don't you take a look in the rearview mirror? Listen to the sounds on your phone line and stop being so naive.
Do I really care what I do?
Because you're not just self-important, you're actually important.
He has a point. I mean, he has to be careful about who he's around. And especially during that time, I mean, it was a big deal. I mean, if you were seen labeled as anything but a Republican or a Democrat, I mean, you were seen as the enemy of the country. And it's scary to think that, stuff like this still happens today.
Want to know what happened between 1947 and 1954 to change your mind on Oppenheimer's security clearance?
I didn't. I was chair of the AEC, but it wasn't me. I brought the charges against Robert.
Who did?
Some former staff member of the Joint Congressional Committee. He was a rabid anti-communist named Borton.
Oh, David Desmalchian! Great actor, too. Got a bunch of Marvel actors in here. Got Florence Pugh, she was Yelena Belova. Got David Desmalchian, he was Kurt in Ant-Man. He was also one of that other creature, that slime creature from Quantum Mania. And got Robert Downey Jr. from Iron Man. Even Alden Ehrenreich's going to be in Marvel too for Ironheart. So at this point, he had the kids, huh?
I'm in.
Let's celebrate.
Don't you want to take care of your babies first? The baby's crying. Oh.
I've been calling to him all day.
Whoa. I mean, why are you wanting to take out your anger on the kid? I mean, come on, he just asked a question. You took care of the baby, but I mean, come on, you're a mom. Look, as a mom and as a dad, you're supposed to take care of the parents, not going and drinking out of the bottle like that. What's your problem? Yes, he's supposed to help take care of the baby too, but you don't have to lash out on the kid either. The child did nothing wrong.
Take Peter. Sure.
What?
For a while. Hook. A while.
Why? Okay, maybe I didn't get the whole context of this whole entire thing about the wife. But I mean, come on. She shouldn't have been lashing out on him like that.
Colonel
Matt
Rose,
Damon!
Lieutenant Colonel Nichols.
And Dane DeHaan! Oh, shoot! You got two more Marvel actors, too. You got Matt Damon from Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder, and then Dane DeHaan, who was in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Dude, wow! So many great actors in this.
Why don't you have a Nobel Prize? Why aren't you a general? They're making me one for this. Perhaps I'll have the same luck. A Nobel Prize for making a bomb. Alfred Nobel invented dynamite.
Well, I mean, he's kind of got a point there.
You're talking about turning theory into a
Into
practical
reality.
weapon system faster than the Nazis.
Who have a 12-month head start.
18.
18?
Our fast neutron research took 6 months. The man they've undoubtedly put in charge will have made that leap instantly. Who do you think they put in charge? Werner Heisenberg. He's the most intuitive understanding of atomic structure I've ever seen. You know his work. I know him. Just like I know Walter Bolton, von Weizsäcker, Diebner. In a straight race, the Germans win. We've got one hope, which is anti-Semitism.
Really? That's such a risky thing. This is insane.
Who were we at war with? Somebody with your past doesn't want to be seen downplaying the importance of security from our communist allies. Taken, but no, you don't get to say no to me. My job to say no to you when you're wrong.
Dang!
If we don't let scientists bring their families, we'll never get the best. You want security, build a town, build it fast. Where?
Los Alamos?
Welcome to Los Alamos.
I knew it.
That? Nothing. 40 miles. Any direction. Find the perfect spot. For success.
This is insane. Wow.
The greatest minds on atomic theory.
Yes.
Jack Quaid! Oh, Superman 2! Ah! He was also a variant of Peter Parker and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Get out! I can't believe Jack Quaid is in this. He looks like his dad and his mom. He looks like a combination of both.
It's about unleashing the strong force.
Who is the other guy? I thought I recognized him.
Before the Nazis do.
Josh Peck! Oh, dude, my child, Jake and Josh. What the heck? Dude. You know, the score for this movie is incredible. The fact that I feel like they kind of timed the score right with the scene and the situation and with the tensions rising, this is incredible. Incredible work.
When's this place supposed to open?
2 months.
2 months.
You're spread too thin.
Do you take theoretical?
I'm not coming here. Obama falls on the just and the unjust. I don't wish the culmination of 3 centuries of physics to be a weapon of mass destruction.
I mean, I would be in the same position as him, and I would agree. I mean, it's amongst the deadliest of things that man has ever created, and that's why, in my opinion, sometimes I believe that when you have an idea that this could cause both a benefit and a consequence towards one and towards another, that idea should just be stayed hidden. It's like when they say like they have secrets that you take to the grave, and there's certain secrets that should be let out in the open for because of different reasons. This is definitely a secret that should be taken to the grave.
Do them yourself while I go to Princeton.
What for?
To talk to Einstein.
Well, there's not much common ground between the two.
I should get his view.
Consulting with Einstein. This guy really does kind of look like Einstein.
What do you take it to mean?
Neutrons smash into nucleus, releasing neutrons to smash into other nuclei. Criticality, point of no return, massive explosive force. This time, the chain reaction doesn't stop.
It would ignite the atmosphere.
That's scary to think that there might have been that chance of that.
If the truth is catastrophic,
Then you stop and you share your findings with the Nazis. So neither side destroys the world. Robert, this is yours, not mine.
Good for you, Einstein. I'm glad that you chose not to participate in something like that.
can you run them again?
No, you'll get the same answer. Until they actually detonate one of these things, the best assurance you're going to get is this, near zero.
Theory will take you only so far.
That's definitely true. I like that what they're doing is that in case if you forgot of who certain people were, they did like a brief flashback to that person. That's such a great idea that I think that other movies should be doing in that fashion. It's really good, especially when editing and especially when there's so many different things that are going on and depending on how big the scale of the movie is.
Where's martinis?
Why do you keep calling your kid a brat? Or like these other different things? Really? You should be at least happy that you have a child or children. You should at least be happy about that. I would. I'm not even a father yet, and I'm not even married yet, but I'd be excited to have a kid. She better be kidding, because if she's not kidding, that's horrible.
Find out if he was based in Chicago or Los Alamos during the war.
Why does that matter?
Well, if he was based in Chicago, they worked under Sillard and Fermi, not the cult of Oppie at Los Alamos. Robert built that place. He was founder, mayor, sheriff, all rolled into one.
I see. You know, it's interesting that the music here, in all honesty, it feels like Inception, The Dark Knight, Interstellar, a little bit of First Man. Most of them from the same composer.
Instead of uranium or plutonium, we use hydrogen. Heavy hydrogen, deuterium. You see, we compact the atoms together under great pressure to induce a fusion reaction.
Ooh, that's
not kilotons, but megatons.
Oh no.
Generate enough force to fuse hydrogen atoms.
Now I know who that guy is. This guy right here who's like turning his head and everything. He hasn't gotten any dialogue. That's Roderick for the live-action Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies. Get out! Stop, man! No! This is crazy.
What were you guys doing at Los Alamos? Wasn't security tight?
Of course it was. You weren't there.
Oh, wow.
We think? Anyone?
I've been thinking about implosion. Explosives around the sphere blast inwards, crushing the material.
I'd like to investigate that idea.
No, that is him! That is him!
Dr. Oppenheimer, the fact that your security clearance is proving difficult to obtain is not my fault. It's yours.
Wow.
But it's your problem because I'm going.
Ooh.
If it can put us ahead again, the President of the United States needs to know about it. And if the Russians know about it already from a spy at Los Alamos, then we got to get going.
There's no proof there was a spy at Los Alamos.
Robert.
I mean, I could understand where there would be a spy somewhere. I mean, yeah, that's a major thing. I mean, like, there's a lot of tension.
Come stai? Va bene? I hear you got a little town.
Yes.
Rami Malek too? No way.
I'm going to try it out.
That is! What the heck? Wow. Wow. So many people. It's crazy.
Generalissimo, I quit. Thanks for nothing.
Well, I mean, it's the guy's decision.
Aren't you more concerned about his discretion out there? We'll have him killed.
What? Dude,
I was just kidding.
I hope you were.
You didn't hire me despite my left-wing past. You hired me because of it. So you could control me.
Whoa.
In your opinion, would he ever consciously commit a disloyal act?
I would be amazed if he did.
So you had complete confidence in his integrity.
At Los Alamos, yes, which is where I really knew him.
Well, at least we have somebody who was kind of more of on his side in a way.
In light of the current AEC guidelines, would you clear Dr. Oppenheimer today?
Do you have the guidelines?
Is he going to say that he wouldn't clear him because of the guidelines now? And then with him seeing all this and hearing the testimony and everything, that's going to be a lot. Wow, this score, honestly, no wonder why it won for original score for best original score for the Oscars.
To update you on our progress and solicit your input. To do so, I am going to have to share a few things that General Groves told me not to. Sorry, General, I said I understood, not that I agreed.
Oh.
Our security was as tight as it could be given the personalities involved, but attempts were made.
What is that supposed to mean?
We've all read his file here.
Oh.
Do we need to talk about Jean Tatlock?
Who?
The Chevalier incident?
What? Uh-oh. Oppenheimer, what'd you do?
We need this kid. Fix it, will you?
It wasn't a mistake. Your friend Lominitz has been trying to unionize the radiation lab.
He promised to quit all that.
But he hasn't.
Oh.
Security officer at Berkeley is concerned about communist infiltration through that union, the FA.
FAs.
I see.
Your Q clearance came through.
Oh, it did.
It's important you not maintain or renew any questionable associations.
I mean, yeah, I could agree to that.
I've had a lot of secrets in my head for a long time.
Oh, is he visiting
Doesn't matter who
her
I'm
again?
associated with,
I knew it. Of course. What the heck? Why are they having a conversation like this? This is weird.
Where did you go?
Can't tell you.
Why?
Exactly.
Because you're a communist. But I felt that she had to see me. She was undergoing psychiatric treatment. She was extremely unhappy.
Was she really? What the heck?
She was still in love with me.
Ooh, bro. What? Dude, stop. Oh, what the heck? Dude, come on. Oh, this is okay. This is okay. This part was so unnecessary. What the heck? Are you kidding me?
You drop in and out of my life, and you don't have to tell me why.
Well, you know, he dropped in and out of your life because of the fact that you told him to kind of do so. And on top of it, he's married. So I don't get you.
That's not what either of us is talking about.
You knew already that he had a wife and child. He was the one that told you that he was going to get married to the other girl. This is the weirdest.
But I can't see you again.
Finally, you got it through your head.
But what if I need you?
Dump her! Dude, it's like you were in a 3-person relationship. Literally, you're married to your wife, but you kind of still have this side girl. What the heck?
Never saw her again.
What do you mean? Like, what was that? Like, oh, she's mad at you, man.
I'm sure you will.
I was under oath.
Well, you were under enough for me when we went to see Jean.
Ooh. Bro, this is what happens. Guys, this is exactly what happens when you get married and you cheat on them. Who's this guy?
Results of surveillance conducted on subject indicate further possible Communist Party connections.
Wait, is that Casey Affleck?
General Groves has placed on me a certain responsibility.
Yeah, that is Casey Affleck. This is such like a festival of celebrities in one 3-hour movie or something. This really feels like an epic from the 1950s in the modern day. Like, this is pretty impressive. Thank you, Christopher Nolan, for making this movie, honestly. Despite those 2 scenes that I felt like were pretty unnecessary to a point, or at least shown too much to a point. I mean, all right, you're doing a great job so far. Honestly, this is crazy. This whole entire ordeal is just insane because of the fact that we really are seeing multiple sides of this story, or multiple sides of Oppenheimer, in the terms of being a brilliant physicist, in the terms of this, and then his personal life, and the fact that there's multiple different versions of what's going on. Honestly, this is insane. I honestly can feel the tension within this movie. I really, really do.
They felt my time would be better spent in Europe determining the status of the Nazi bomb project.
Who did?
General Groves. He transferred me to London.
Oh, is there some stuff that they were keeping from him too? From they were keeping from Oppenheimer? Like,
Attention! Early Christmas present for you all.
oh, he's back.
Power you're about to reveal will forever outlive the Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
And the world is not prepared.
That's true. We're still not.
We have to make the politicians understand this isn't a new weapon. It's a new world.
Ooh. The writing on this movie is so good. Really good.
The power to destroy themselves.
Yep. That's what this is. The power to destroy themselves. No doubt about it. That's what this is.
Robert?
Is this about his brother?
Yesterday in the bath.
Oh. There's so many things happening.
Deterrence? Do we really need more deterrence than our current arsenal of atomic bombs?
You drown in 10 feet of water or 10,000. What's the difference?
I'm already feeling the tensity of this whole thing. There's so many things going on in his mind, and it's like if this whole movie is an account of we're in his mind and we're recounting what he's gone through in the sense of this is memories replaying in his mind.
One night, flying back from a raid, I saw an amazing sight, like a meteor. V2 rocket headed England. I can't help but imagine what it will be for such an enemy rocket to carry an atomic warhead.
Whoa, my God. There's so much tension.
If we both speak, they listen to me.
When you speak, they hear a prophet. When Strauss speaks, they hear themselves.
They'll listen to a prophet.
A prophet can't be wrong.
Ooh.
How was Mr. Borden able to put together such a detailed indictment? He was no longer a government employee, yet he appears to have had unlimited access to Dr. Oppenheimer's file. Might Mr. Nichols have given him access to the file, or someone else?
Ooh.
Can't end this war.
But how do we justify using this weapon on human beings?
Yeah. You want to answer that one?
Yes. We imagine a future, and our imaginings horrify us.
Mm-hmm.
They won't fear it until they understand it, and they won't understand it until they've used it. And the world learns the terrible secret of Los Alamos. Our work here will ensure a peace mankind has never seen. A peace based on the kind of international cooperation that Roosevelt always envisaged.
Nope. I hate to say it, but that's not the case. Because, the idea of using, nuclear weapons and all that have greatly grown. At least the thoughts of it has grown and the tensions have been higher than we thought. And it's insane to think that because of this, insane. It really, really is. Where has there been any peace when it comes to using technology and physics in times of war and in times of violence? Never. Never. There's never been any amounts of peace for it. Oh! That's scary, to be honest. This is insane. This whole entire movie is just all about insanity. It's crazy. Is Rami Malek gonna get any lines in this movie? He hasn't said a word!
Single device. Dropped from a barely noticed B-29, the atomic bomb will be a terrible revelation of divine power.
You could say that again. Look at where we're at now.
Well, if we use this weapon without informing our allies, they'll see it as a threat, and we'll be in an arms race.
Yeah, I think that's where we're at right now.
We need these men, but as soon as it's practical, we should sever any such scientists from the program. Wouldn't you agree, Doctor?
Ooh. This is insane. This is just nerve-wracking, to be honest. They have to be really, really careful. The most interesting part about this movie, and actually more about the score for this scene, is the fact that if you kind of listen to it closely, it kind of sounds like a Geiger counter or like a radiation counter. There's so much tension in this.
Do it. Is there anything else that might stop us?
The weather? Whoa! That's very stormy. I'd be scared to even go up on that thing Especially when it's raining? No. These people are insanely brave to have done this when they were doing these testings and all of that. I could not be able to do any of this. I can't. I can't.
Let's get to stock observation. Pull them out. We can make our determination there.
Oh, is this when it's gonna happen? Oh no.
It'll break before dawn. How could you know that? I know this desert. Storm cools overnight. Just before dawn, storm breaks. It could be rain, but schedule as late as possible. 5:30. Sign your forecast. If you're wrong, I'll hang you.
Dang! What the heck?
If it doesn't go off, we're both finished.
Believe me, it's about to go off. And it's going to be the mark of something very, very horrifying in our modern day history.
Are we saying there's a chance that when we push that button, we destroy the world?
Nothing in our research over 3 years supports that conclusion, except it's the most remote possibility.
Stop trying to... Okay, that's a good confidence, but there's a possibility. This is what I asked. This is what I sometimes hate about theories. And I don't hate things, but theories can be nerve-wracking, especially when it comes to a situation like this. The music in this movie so far, like, it can be amazing, but it could also be very unsettling. Nerve-wracking, intense. Like, honestly, I feel the tension from this. I'm not even there, but I'm experiencing it, and like by watching this, and I'm already feeling tension. And I'm already feeling nervous about this whole thing. This is insane.
20 minutes.
Here we go.
Watch that needle. If the detonators don't charge, or the voltage drops below 1 volt, you hit that button, you abort. Understood?
Understood.
That's crazy. Oh, he's trembling like he does not want to do it.
2 minutes to destination.
Oh, no.
Is it right then?
Yeah.
Is Jack Quaid's character gonna die? I hope not. That's scary. That's scary. Oh my god, I already got goosebumps. I'm already feeling a little panicky from this. Not gonna lie, I do feel a little panicky from this. I do feel uneasy. Oh. What is he doing? What are you doing? Bro, what are you doing? No! Why the heck would you look at it at points? Don't look at it! Don't look at it! Why? How did they do this? This isn't CGI, but how did they do this? Because that's a scary replication of what it's supposed to look like or feel or experience. Is the sound gonna come after?
And now I am become death. The destroyer of worlds.
Oh, shoot! Okay! Ah, that scared me! That did scare me! That got me! Ah! Oh, man. Oh, that got me. I don't get scared. I get kind of scared a little easily, I'm gonna admit. That's why I don't like horror movies. But this is like a horror movie in itself. Realistic horror! Like, I was already expecting the blast on coming, but still, it got me. It literally got me. I was already feeling tensed up and nervous and just like, when's the sound gonna happen? When's the sound gonna happen? Then boom, right there. Oy.
Once it's used. Nuclear war. War. Becomes unthinkable.
Yep.
Until somebody builds a bigger one.
Don't even get us started with this, please. It's a good warning, but still, it's scary to think of.
Charlotte.
Oh. Oh. And then Oppenheimer and everybody else who built it is going to have this conscience on them saying that they built something so incredible to a point that it literally destroyed lives. I mean, yeah, it was during a time of war, which of course things were at a high tension, but now that they know about the technology, it's like you can never go back in time and keep that idea secret or hidden away because somebody else would have thought it up first. And things would have been completely different in time and in history. But honestly, this is very nerve-wracking. Whoa. The The camera judder like that. That's some great distortion effects right there. You know what the distortion reminds me of? It reminds me of the scene in Batman Begins with the Scarecrow's fear toxin. Reminds me of that sort of distortion. What was that? What was that? He can't even speak. Oh my god. The heck? Oh! Ah! Stop it! Second time! Is this movie over soon? Is there gonna be any more jump scares like... Oh my... Ow! Oh! Oh, that's horrifying! It's crazy how at this point, it's like he hears not only the enjoyment and like the cheering for the success of the bomb, but also hearing the screams of the people who died during this time. It's like if it's like if you can't tell the difference between the screams of being scared and panicking and erupts of joy because of of an accomplishment.
Dr. Oppenheimer, it's an honor.
Mr. President.
That's President Truman, okay? But who is this guy?
How's it feel to be the most famous man in the world? You
Wait!
saved a lot of American lives. What we did at Hiroshima was...
Is that Gary Oldman?
Obviously.
What the heck? You got Commissioner Gordon and Dr. Jonathan Crane, aka Scarecrow, in the same movie again outside of the Dark Knight trilogy? What the heck? Stop. What happened to the Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman and Christian Bale cameos that we could have gotten in this movie? What the heck? I gotta give it to Gary Oldman. He is such an incredible actor when it comes to changing his accent, when going through makeup, and he is so incredible. Literally, he has such a range that it's incredible to see how much of a range this man has. Him and Cillian Murphy, even Robert Downey Jr., there's such amazing ranges when it comes to their acting, when it comes to their accents, and when it comes to their characters that they portray. It's incredible. Even like actors like Kenneth Branagh too. Like, man, I gotta give it to them.
I feel that I have blood on my hands.
Yeah, you do. You absolutely do. You and every scientist and every physicist that was a part of this. Everybody who was a part of this thing. Yeah, they did. They all have hands. They all have blood on their hands.
You think anyone in Hiroshima or Nagasaki gives a who built the bomb? They care who dropped it. I did. Hiroshima isn't about you.
That's an interesting way of putting it, and the way how politics changes any sort of factor in. Wow, really? Oppenheimer had every right to speak the way how he did.
Heard.
What? Heard what?
Klaus Fuchs, the British scientist that you put onto the implosion team at Los Alamos. Turns out he was spying for the Soviets.
Oh! Yikes!
The FBI stepped up surveillance on him. He knew his phone was tapped. He's followed everywhere. There's trash picked through.
That's crazy. Imagine having an inside job happening at the exact same time as doing something this monumental. I mean, that's crazy.
That was the last straw for Robert's enemies.
So he had to lose his security clearance.
And with it, his credibility.
Wow, really?
There were many who thought themselves lucky, who climbed out of the ruins of their homes, only slightly injured.
Wow.
But they died anyway.
Because of the
They
radiation,
died
I would
days
most
or
suppose.
weeks later from the iridium-like rays emitted
Yep.
in great numbers at the moment of the explosion.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, it's crazy to think that how all of this was because he wanted to learn more about physics, and he wanted to learn them in a serious manner. But now then this work got involved into politics, which then changed the course of history dramatically, which is crazy to think.
J. Robert Oppenheimer, straws fought in
What?
the U.S. won.
That'll work.
What?
Those were your words from the other day.
We needed to pivot.
But how would you know what Time magazine is going to write?
Henry Luce is a friend.
Oh, so he had somebody that he knew write that up.
What was it you said about Borden? Why get caught holding the knife yourself? I'm beginning to think Borden was holding the knife for you.
Ooh, the tensions are going to be rising.
It wasn't Nichols or Hoover, one of Truman's guys. It was you.
Oh.
You set him on Oppenheimer. You convinced him.
Borden didn't take any convincing.
Take your time, use the entire file. Write up your conclusions, send them to the FBI.
This is insane. It's like it's right at the divergent point right there.
Oppenheimer's too slippery for that self-promoting clown.
Wow.
I've talked it over with Hoover. He'll hold McCarthy at bay while you do this with the AEC. A trial, you can't give Oppenheimer a platform. You can't martyr him. We need a systematic destruction of Oppenheimer's credibility so he can never again speak on matters of national security.
So Strauss was the one that set Oppenheimer to do this whole entire he set for him to be forced to be testifying for this.
No audience, no reporters, no burden of proof.
So it was all like Hamilton in the room where it happened, but instead of having to not know what really happened in the room, we kind of had an idea of what happened in the room.
Amateurs seek the sun, get eaten. Power.
This is insane.
But sir, you're out of the shadows now.
Ooh, sheesh. This is really a movie about duality. Duality in the terms of that there's two sides of the story and there's two sides of the coin, where one's marked with the brilliance but downfall of a person who wanted to try to know and contain the knowledge of something, compared to the man who, because of the situation and the circumstance, it ended up turning into this bitter battle.
As an AC counsel, I can't represent you. I'll call Lloyd Garrison.
Oh, he's good.
The best. But I have to warn you, this won't be a fair fight.
It's not going to be a fair fight, because all of this is going to be more in Strauss's favor. They set this up to make it more be in Strauss's favor compared to Oppenheimer.
I think we should get back to first-hand information.
This is firsthand.
How so, Roger?
There was a recording of the interview.
Was there really?
You let my client sit here and potentially perjure himself, and all this time, you had a recording?
Oh, wow.
Is this proceeding interested in entrapment or in truth? If it's truth, where's the disclosure?
Right.
Where's the witness list?
Right.
This isn't a trial, as you're well aware. Evidentiary rules do not apply. We are dealing with national security.
Wait a minute, was that Tony Goldwyn? How come I didn't notice him before?
Dr. Oppenheimer is a man of upstanding character, and he is loyal to the United States, to his friends, to the institutions of which he is part.
Get a real one right there. Like back on the train when they first met, like face to face.
Suppose that this board did not feel satisfied that any testimony here, Dr. Oppenheimer, had been wholly truthful. What would you say whether or not he should be cleared?
Why go through all this against a man who has accomplished what Dr. Oppenheimer has? Look at his record. We have an A-bomb and a whole series of it. We have a whole series of super bombs. What more do you want?
Wow.
Mr. Chairman, our next scheduled witness, Dr. Lawrence, has apparently come down with colitis. So we'll proceed with William Borden instead. Mr. Borden, welcome. Please take a seat.
Oh, man. Here we go. It's a setup.
Mr. Chairman, this is the first I've seen of this letter. And I see statements here, at least one, of a kind that I don't think anyone would like to see go into the record. These are accusations that have not previously been made, that are not part of the indictment from Nichols. Accusations of a kind that I don't think belong here.
The witness wrote this letter on his own initiative, laying out evidence that has already been before the board. His conclusions are valid testimony, just like the positive conclusions of friends of Dr. Oppenheimer. It cuts both ways.
How long has counsel been in possession of this letter?
Ooh, yeah, no. Tell him how many years. How long has it been? How long has it been?
Thank you.
Now, finally, we heard you talk.
Louis Strauss, a man who has given years of service in high positions of government and who is known to be earnest, hardworking, and intelligent. The views I have to express are my own, but I believe that much I have to say will help to indicate why most of the scientists in this country would prefer to see Mr. Strauss completely out of government.
Oh! Really?
Because of the personal vindictiveness he demonstrated against Dr. Oppenheimer.
Wow!
It appears most scientists around this country, Robert Oppenheimer, is now being pilloried and put through an ordeal because he expressed his honest opinions.
Dr. Bush, I thought I was performing a service to my country when hearing this case.
No board in this country should sit in judgment of a man because he expressed strong opinions. If you want to try that case, you should try me.
Ooh! This is crazy!
The Oppenheimer matter was initiated and carried through largely through the animus of Louis Strauss.
Ooh, the downfall of two of them!
Strauss's position on different isotopes to Norway, and Strauss never forgave him this public humiliation. The controversy between them centered around their differences in judgment on how the H-bomb would contribute to national security. Strauss turned to the personnel security system in order to destroy Oppenheimer's effectiveness. And Strauss was able to find a few ambitious men who also disagreed with Oppenheimer's positions and envied him.
Here we go.
Under my interpretation of the Atomic Energy Act, which did not exist when I hired Dr. Oppenheimer in 1942, I would not clear him today if I were on the commission.
Wow.
But I don't think I'd clear any of those guys.
Woo!
The record demonstrates that Oppenheimer was not interrogated by impartial and disinterested counsel for the Gray Board. He was interrogated by a prosecutor who used all the tricks of a rather ingenious legal background.
Uh-oh.
If I were on the Gray Board, I would have protested against the tactics of the man who served in fact as the prosecuting counsel, a man appointed not by the board,
Ooh.
by Louis Strauss.
Ooh. Is she going to be testifying against him?
This was also very long ago, Mr. Robb, wasn't it?
Not really.
Long enough to have
Did
forgotten.
you return the card or rip it up?
The card whose existence I've forgotten.
Your Communist Party membership
I
card.
have the slightest idea.
Can a distinction be made between Soviet communism and communism?
Well, in the days when I was a member, I thought they were definitely two things.
Oh.
I thought that the Communist Party of the United States was concerned with our domestic problems. I now no longer believe this. I believe the whole thing's linked together and spread all over the world, and I've believed this since I left the party 16 years ago.
But
17 years ago. My mistake.
But you said...
Sorry, 18.
Ooh. She is feisty!
Familiar with the fact your husband was making contributions to the Spanish Civil War as late as 1942.
I knew that Robert gave money from time to time.
Did you know this money was going into Communist Party channels?
I think you mean through Communist Party channels, don't you?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Then would it be fair to say that this meant that by 1942 your husband had not stopped having anything to do with the Communist Party? You don't have to answer that yes or no. You can answer that any way you wish.
You're scared now, huh, bro?
It's your question. It's not properly phrased.
Do you understand what I'm getting at?
I do.
Then why don't you answer it that
Because
way?
I don't like your phrase.
Woo!
Anything to do with the Communist Party, because Robert never had anything to do with the Communist Party as such. I know he gave money to Spanish refugees. I know he took an intellectual interest in communist ideas.
There are two types of communists. Intellectual communists and your plain old regular commie.
Well, I couldn't answer that one.
Ooh, she's turning the tables! This is what happens when you have a wife that's actually there. Despite the whole thing of her having her flaws, she was always there to be backing him up. That's the thing.
It's not good he's telling everyone you initiated the hearings.
You can't prove anything. You certainly can't prove that I gave the file to Gordon.
We're not in court, sir. There's no burden of proof.
Just deny. Why would Hill come here to tear me down?
Do people need a reason to do the right thing?
Woo! The intensity just between this is insane. The silence is so loud. So both of them had their downfalls because of this.
You told me I'd be okay.
Yeah, well, I didn't have all the facts, did I?
President
Ooh.
Eisenhower pinned the Medal of Freedom on my chest last year because I've always done what's right for this country. They don't want me in the cabinet room. That's fine. Maybe they should just invite Oppenheimer instead.
Maybe they will.
Ooh.
You know, sir, since nobody really knows what they said to each other that day, is it possible they didn't talk about you at all? It's possible they spoke
true.
about something more important.
Woo! Wow! He had some guts to tell him that. Oh, the actual conversation.
Yeah, what really wasn't for me, it was for all of you. Now it's your turn to deal with the consequences of your achievement.
Ooh.
Came to those calculations. We thought we might start a chain reaction that would destroy the entire world.
I remember it well. What happened?
I believe we did.
The scary thing is that he's right. Wow. Thank you, Mr. Christopher Nolan. Thank you, sir, for this. This was one heck of a movie that it's really, really impactful to the point that I honestly don't have the right words to demonstrate how I'm feeling about this movie whatsoever. So let me give some brief words about this really quick. All right. So I didn't mention it before, but this took me 3 days to record because I had first had some complications with my phone when it died on me because I used my phone as my avatar's camera connected to OBS. And then the other time that my phone was overheating from it, and it probably was overheating from the intensity of all this as I was reaching the different points. And right now I just finished this. In all reality, there's a lot of things that come to mind about this movie. And if I'm going to be honest, the night before I finished this up, I prayed to God that he would give me the wisdom to find the right words for this. Because honestly, I know that this is a scary subject to discuss, and I don't want to use my platform to bring any type of fear whatsoever to people's minds and to people's thoughts. Because the intention of this channel is to instead bring more people together and for people to forget about the issues that we have right now in this world. And this is an issue that has arisen from time to time, and it's haunted many people over several generations, billions of people. And we might not even be thinking about this until it's too late. But in all reality, it is a scary thing to think that in a way they already did destroy the whole entire world just from all this. Now again, I'm only going to probably get into certain things about this. The one thing that I do want to say is how intense this was. The fact that Christopher Nolan still managed to make this movie in his style, that it was a biopic about Oppenheimer himself, and he did it in the context of duality, and I'm firmly sticking by duality, as it was a duality of time, and it was also a duality of perspectives, as I feel that with this, we were getting not only just Oppenheimer's side of the story, but Strauss's, and it was not just about Oppenheimer's rise and fall, and that he had that amount of fame to a point that he's been considered as a prominent figure in United States history, but also Strauss as well had his rise and his downfall moment. But in the end, Oppenheimer was the one that received the rewards and received all of the recognition compared to Strauss. So I feel like Christopher Nolan did his job by, when adapting this book that he read about Oppenheimer, and he adapted it well, writing this script. He did it in a way where it was not only showing just Oppenheimer's side of the story, but he did it in the tension of having for it to be a two-sided story where you fully got to see the rise and downfall of two prominent figures in this whole entire ordeal. Now, I do believe that Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. definitely deserved their Oscar wins for this movie, as this really knocked it out of the ballpark. And on top of that, this movie had so many nominations, and if I remember correctly, which I'm definitely going to be looking it up, I want to say that Oppenheimer had, I think it was 11 nominations, if I'm correct, but I could definitely be wrong. Academy 13 nominations. I'm sorry, 13 nominations. It won for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor. I thought that it would have won Best Adapted Screenplay, but it didn't, which I'm actually surprised that it didn't. So Best Cinematography, I can agree with. Best Film Editing, yes, I agree with too. Best Original Score, I can definitely agree to this one, but it also should have won for Best Sound. It also should have won for Best Production Design. And I think that, in my opinion, it should have went for Best Supporting Actress Emily Blunt and Best Adapted Screenplay. I could understand it not winning the costume design or makeup and hairstyling to a degree. But I do agree that they should have gotten 11 out of the 7 that they had received. And it's such a... This movie, honestly, it's such an experience that I would definitely feel like it is a haunting reminder of what happens, of what could happen on if we do not remember our past and our history, because that history tends to repeat itself when ignored. And we don't wish to make that same mistake over and over. But unfortunately for us as people, we're stupid enough to let the past go. And we're stupid enough to let history be erased. And I think that it is one of the most ridiculous and childish things for us to do. And with this, I think it's more of a warning sign in the terms of us trying to be wanting to do something for our country, but what cost does it take to destroy the world? Whether it's physically destroying the world or emotionally or mentally destroying the world, because with this discovery, it definitely mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually destroyed the world, in my opinion. Now, of course, it was bound to happen anyway. One thing of advice I could give on this is my great-grandparents, when they were alive, they had a saying that I have started to more live by ever since I knew about this. And my grand introduced me to this quote that they would live by. And it might be something that, it might already be a thing now, but they believed that you are the owner to your thoughts, but you are a slave to what you say. And people would think that the mind can be one of the most dangerous things out there. And it can be. The mind is a weapon of its own. But the worst thing that, out of all of our body, is our mouth. Our mouths are the one that produces the sound necessary to be able to bring any of our thoughts to realization and into life. And it's one of the scariest things that we could ever think of as a whole and as people. And I honestly cannot believe how we can use our minds and our mouths to create this very, very lethal device that could be the killer to so many different things. I'm honestly struggling with this one because, again, I don't want this to be a platform of fear. I want this to be where people can come together and they can enjoy themselves and be able to escape the world. But unfortunately, this one was the one that brought us back into reality, and it's a scary thing that this can. But enough about this in general, as I think I made the points that I needed to make clear. But anyways, as I was thinking about this movie, and hopefully God gave me the right words so that way it can keep everyone at ease and at peace. What I like about this movie was the fact that they had Strauss to have his vision, his scenes, when it was more focused on him, to be in black and white, because I feel like, in my opinion, the representative that Alden Ehrenreich played, he brought up an interesting point that he said that maybe that conversation that Oppenheimer and Einstein were having was not about him, but it was about something bigger, which it was. And I think that Strauss was a person who was more focused on himself and that he was focusing more on that he wanted to create a legacy, and because he thought that because he brought Einstein to Oppenheimer, and that at that point he wanted the credit where he thought it was due. But the problem was that he not only brought in people that he thought was going to be incriminating Oppenheimer as to being a communist at that point during the interrogation, but he also succumbed to his own downfall on top of it, because it was arrogance and it was pride that went and it destroyed his career and it destroyed his life. And see, that's what happens with us. If we are envious of people so much, we end up taking the wrong steps into wanting revenge and wanting this type of peace within ourselves, because honestly, revenge was never the way to do things. And Oppenheimer did not want revenge against anybody. He was more of a person that he wanted to know more about physics, and he wanted to know if the theory of physics is able to be applied to what we have right now. And Oppenheimer was a figure that really brought a whole lot of ideas about physics and about our modern ideals about physics and about fission to life. And it was two different stories going on at the exact same time. And people could honestly be arguing if this movie had to have been 3 hours long. And for me, as I've been now more inspired by Christopher Nolan's filmography, I feel like it was necessary, because this was something that I think that you could not have condensed down in about 2.5 hours or 2 hours or something short. This was a movie that I think that it really hits home, and what I really, really felt about this movie was there were different tensions that were going on. We had the tensions of when the atomic bomb was being tested in Los Alamos, which, as you guys saw, I jumped twice. And this isn't even a horror movie that is filled with monsters or zombies or vampires or any of that stuff that has the necessary jump scares to make your adrenaline pumping in your body and the blood racing or going cold. But this one was not even a horror movie, which you could consider it to be realistic horror, in my opinion. A realistic horror on what is happening right now. But this movie really did an incredible job at giving this warning sign of what happens when we go and we politicize different things. When they politicize science, it can be very deadly. And we honestly, as a whole, have made like a very big impression in world history. Not just U.S. history, but world history in general, about the fact that if we're not careful whatsoever, we will destroy ourselves. And that is the most scariest thing to even think of. And Oppenheimer was a heck of a movie to even convey that thought and convey that idea. And I don't think, in my opinion, I would be able to go and try to dumb it down to a point. As much as I would like to dumb it down, I feel like it's my responsibility as a reaction YouTuber to not dumb this down, but at least use it as a point of trying to at least convey the right ideas and the right advice and the right wisdom to you guys. And I thank you, Lord, for giving me this wisdom to be able to try to help people to understand where I'm coming from, and hopefully you guys are understanding where things are coming from in this light of context. I really felt uncomfortable throughout this movie. I really did. I felt like the first hour made me feel at ease. The second hour is when the physical appearance of seeing them build the atomic bomb really elevated the stress I was feeling from it and the intensity that was going on during the situation, and I really felt it. But then once we got into the third hour of political backlash and political warfare, this which literally was political warfare and scientific warfare between Strauss and Oppenheimer, and you felt this intense tension that really knocked it out of the park with both sides in bringing this to life. And there were so many different things that were being hit left and right, and it was just intense to the point that you can't even have your own thoughts about this be made up right up on the spot until you really, really digested this movie. And for me, that's what happened. What happened was that I couldn't even get a lot into this reaction because this took me days to formulate my thoughts. And I might still have more thoughts about this even after this reaction that I might not have even gotten to. It was the same thing for Barbie. That Barbie even made me think of things that I should have and I wish that I put in the reaction, but I didn't get the chance on putting in the reaction. So this is something that it's really, really tugging at me and bugging at me, and I just really hoped that this was something that hopefully we would be able to have as a consideration to cool our tensions down between each other as people. Honestly, the scale of this movie is impeccable to the top point that we're literally going to screw ourselves over in the worst way possible if we don't take this heat of caution seriously. As I said before, this is a duality, a major story about duality, that it was both about one person who wanted to express his ideas and wanted to be learning and contributing in any way possible, but was put in this situation where at that point, because of different ideals and different relations that he had, it made him look really, really bad. And that was a downfall for him. But he later got that recognition about accomplishing one of the biggest things to ever happen in United States and world history. As for Strauss, it was more of that he wanted recognition. There was a lot of things that he wished that he would have been able to achieve. But because that he felt like Oppenheimer was turning everyone against him and people were discrediting him, he sought to seek the revenge against Oppenheimer and have the committee be made. And I loved that Rami Malek's character was the one that was the person that was not wanting to participate in something so ridiculous. And he ended up exposing Strauss to the whole entire session, and his reputation went down the line too. But nobody's ever heard of him now until recently because of this movie, and a lot more people are going to be thinking more about this. And even after a year that this has been out, I feel like this movie has gotten a lot more thought and people have been thinking about it a lot more. It's such a big impact that I could understand why this would have been one of the best movies of 2023, because it really does a good job at really tugging at the personal home strings of our minds and our thoughts, because we're in this situation right now that we cannot get out of unless if we take the chance on trying to cool things down somehow and try to work things out in a civilized manner, because right now it's not looking good. But we need to wise up to stop this nonsense. It brings me back to Hamilton. Like I said before, it was like during that time in the interrogation room where I said it's like it was in the room where it happened to Oppenheimer that he would lose his security clearance. But it was also, to me, it's like if then in the second song in Act 1 in Hamilton, where Burr goes to Hamilton and says, "Talk less, smile more. Don't let them know what you're against or for. You want to get ahead. Fools that run their mouth off wind up dead." That's what this was in so many ways. This was literally a Hamilton Burr story, but in a more modern setting in the 1900s. But I will just leave it at that comparison. But other than that, Christopher Nolan did an incredible job with the color portions of the movie and the black and white portions of the movie, with color representing Oppenheimer's ideas and him trying to be out there and him having more of a different point of view of the world, and that he knew that these ideas being associated with him were not going to be likened by everybody, but at the same time, it was this choice that he made, that he wanted to elevate his education, but at the same time, he didn't know where this was going to take him, and it took him to a downfall and uprise that happened within his life that made things more tense. And with Strauss, he was having more of like a one-track mind, being recognized, gaining the credit that he felt like he so-called deserved, which in some ways he did deserve some credit, because he did bring him together, but he elevated this more when the scientists were turning against him, or so-called turning against him, and they were siding with Oppenheimer because the Oppenheimer had the brains to be able to tell them about what he was wanting to do and how he was wanting to help contribute to the world of science and the world of physics. And when you have a one-track mind, it's like if you're thinking in black and white and you're not seeing the full picture in its beauty and in its in color. And there's that point in time where you're trying your best to really, really do what you can to see everybody's point of view. But because of this nature that you're engrossing, that's when things start going south. And that's when you as a person really are making yourself look like you're the problem. I know that I'm probably rambling on about this, and on top of it too, this felt like Dunkirk in a lot of ways, as Dunkirk was also another movie where Christopher Nolan dealt with the concept of time, where one story was told in weeks, was told in a week. One story was told in a couple of days, and one story was told within a couple of hours, and he blended it also gracefully and done so well in a beautiful fashion. Whereas in this one, we were at two very, very opposite sides of time in history. And the closer that it got to the atomic bomb testing and the Trinity testing, that's when things started becoming more conjoined. The story started getting more crossed over with each other. And then right when it hits the end, they meet right there in the middle, and then they diverge again to show both what happened to both sides. And it's incredible to think that Christopher Nolan, when he does his movies, he often thinks a lot about time. As for Inception, as for Interstellar, for Dunkirk, for Tenet, and now for even Oppenheimer, which is an incredible motion to make. And I think that this all started with Memento, if I'm correct. I think Memento was the one that started this all. And I think the only movies that don't really deal with time as a form of storytelling in that way was, I think, Insomnia, but I have not seen Insomnia and I have not seen Memento. I know the Dark Knight trilogy, in my opinion, didn't really feel like it dealt with time. But specifically Memento, as I know what its premise is, but I just haven't seen it yet. And with Inception, dealt with time within the dreams, within dreams, within dreams. And it dealt with time as well because of the whole situation that they were going through. I might have to revisit Inception again just to know if I'm thinking correctly about this. Interstellar, with the time concept of relativity between different planets and having to be experiencing time in different ways. Then you have Tenet, which dealt with time as well, with three different stories that eventually they tied into one big thing. And then Tenet, with having to deal with time flow going forward and backwards in this duality sense as well. And with Oppenheimer, in the fashion of Dunkirk, having to have two sides of the stories be starting like two different sides, with Strauss and with Oppenheimer, and having the main events. You know what? You could even say this is a four-way thing. Two parts within two stories. If you want to put it like that, you could. Because of the hearing that Strauss was in and the hearing that Oppenheimer was in. You had your two hearings, which were 2 points in time, and you had the demonstration between Oppenheimer and Strauss. It's like this point in time where it's like a 4-pointed triangle where you have your Strauss and Oppenheimer's beginnings, and you saw in the beginning, and it starts converging towards one moment. And you could even put it as like a branch to some points. Their stories more convened with each other at the point of the Trinity testing. Then from there, it starts going and branching out again. And then you have your two hearings that they're running at the exact same time. And it's like they're making this little bit of a curved shape where they're going and they're trying to be conveying with each other. And then right when the verdicts both hit at the exact same time, then that's when their stories both end and their new chapters begin. And it's a crazy way of setting this up that I strongly believe that Christopher Nolan, in my opinion, is one of the most innovative and most complex, but one of the most genius filmmakers of the 21st century. And it's incredible to give that privilege to him. He put so much thought into these movies, into his scripts, into his stories that it's incredible. These are more of experiences. I didn't understand this as a kid, but when I saw Interstellar in 2014 at a Thursday night showing, I did not realize how much of an impact Interstellar was going to make for me as a moviegoer and as an audience member. But then me watching it again for a film project that I did, that I got inspired by watching Interstellar and also watching Blue's Clues, about the space episode, I then realized that Christopher Nolan had a major impact and especially with the way how I do videos. And I used to do videos with stop motion movies for Lego stop motion movies when I was in school. But anyways, leading it back to Oppenheimer, this movie was incredible. It was very, very impacting, and it was traumatizing to a point. But Christopher Nolan did his job on bringing this piece of American history to life, and us diving into the dual complex situation that was going on during this tenseful time. And hopefully, like I said again, this will be perceiving us as we need to do better as people. And I feel like, in my opinions, the ideas that will bring on the destruction of human life and of the planet's life and of all living things should just be kept in the mind. Don't let it out in the public, because honestly, you're just going to give more ideas to people that they're going to take these ideas and elevate them to the point that this snowball is not going to stop until it happens. Without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching my reaction to Oppenheimer, and thank you guys so much for watching Barbenheimer 24. If you guys are wanting to see more videos like this, then please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you guys want to follow me on any of my social media, I have Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, aka X, my Discord and my Discord server, and my TikTok accounts, which all the links will be in the description below. And without further ado, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you all. Stay safe, and I will see you all in the next videos. Bye, guys.